When Super Mario 3D World was originally released back in 2013, I was only just 15 years old, so I didn't really have that much money to spend on video games. Especially since in that same year, I had to save up money for my 3DS. So there was simply no way I could have afforded a Wii U console and this game as well. Thus, on multiple occasions back in 2013 and 2014, whenever I would visit my local game store, I would always look around to see whether I can find a Wii U console kiosk nearby so I can play through this game. And at times playing through the game on the kiosk was always filled with so much joy and happiness. And I made a promise to myself that one day when I become an adult, I'll finally play through this game. And with the release of this port on a Nintendo Switch, I was finally able to fulfill that promise to myself. So did this game manage to meet my expectation after all these years have passed? And how does the new edition of Bowser Fury fare in this package? Welcome to this video where I talk about all things video games. In this video, I'll be revealing Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury for the Nintendo Switch. Let's start with the base game first. The gameplay of Super Mario 3D World borrows from the formula set in Super Mario 3D Land, a style that mixes 2D Mario gameplay in a 3D environment. Featuring linear level design that is like a carefully designed obstacle course with a clear start and end to the course. I really enjoy this style a lot, as the levels featured here have excellent pacing and progression with not a lot of downtime. Whereas in more sandbox Mario games like Odyssey and 64, the pacing can be quite mixed as exploration and traversal are key to the experience. Anyway, the best part of the gameplay in this game has to do with the immaculate level design. Almost every single level has a unique and creative twist to the proceedings that always kept the game feeling fresh and unique. From a level that tests your rhythm and timing skills, to a shadow puzzle, to invisible platform, to ghost houses, to stealth levels, the amount of new and different ideas this game throws at you are insane. Even Mario staples like desert, water and snow levels all have a twist in them that never makes them boring. Super Mario 3D World also has multiple playable characters, each with different attributes and abilities, which adds to the element of experimentation. For example, Princess Peach has the ability to float for a while, which allows the player to skip some of the more challenging platformings by just floating through them. My personal favourite character to play as is Rosalina. She has a spin attack that acts like a mini double jump, which managed to save my skin quite a lot of times. The only levels that I kind of dislike are the ones with the unnecessary touch control from the Wii U gamepad days, as the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a touch screen when docked. The way to control these sections that require touch is to manage a cursor through gyro, which is just very unintuitive, and thus the pacing and progression suffers as you have to stop the current platforming and flimsily navigate the cursor with the gyro. Thankfully, these levels only make up a handful of the whole game. Aside from the more traditional levels, you also get special enemy battle, mystery boxes, and the Captain Toad levels. The Captain Toad levels are a nice change of pace, designed like a small diorama puzzle. We have to guide Captain Toad to collect the stipulated stars to clear the level. The main restriction is that Captain Toad cannot jump, so you have to use each stage gimmick to the fullest. I also enjoyed the multitude of power-ups that are available in this game. They often change out the playstyle for each level. Of course, the classic power-ups like Fire Flower and Super Leaf make a return. However, what I'd like to touch on are the two newcomers. Firstly is the Super Bell, which transforms the characters into their cat forms. Honestly, I find that the design can break the game a little with its ability to climb up surfaces and the dive move. You can often skip a big chunk of levels just by using these abilities. Secondly is the Double Cherry. I love this power-up a lot. This power-up gives you additional Mario to play with. And usually in the levels that you get the Double Cherry, you can also stack up multiple Double Cherries, giving you 3, 4 or 5 Marios on screen at once. And if you combine it with other power-ups, it's just so fun to interact. Some of the levels also require you to have a stipulated number of characters at once to access the secrets. Speaking of secrets, there are 3 green stars and a stamp to collect in every main world level. Quite often they will require you to look somewhere off the beaten path, or you'll test your platforming skills to get them. And I highly recommend that you collect all of them, as getting all of them, in addition to getting to the top of the flagpole for every stage, you will unlock the final world of this game. And it's through this final world you get to play the final level, Dark Champions Road. It's a level that has quite a reputation among Mario fans. It's a grueling and tough platforming level with 0 checkpoints, testing your patience and Mario skill to the fullest. It is seriously one of the toughest levels in all of Mario games. Personally, it took me a solid 6 hours, spanning close to 500 lives to beat this one level. Despite it being one of the toughest ordeal I've ever done, I have to say at the end of it, it was worth it. I have to recommend you guys to try to clear this one level, and I'll also recommend you guys to try to beat the level without a power-up. Honestly, this is a game where I really wanted to 100% complete it, But the completion requirement for 100% also requires you to finish every single level with every single playable character, which in my opinion seems like too much of a busy work. It seems just way too tedious to complete every level with every character. As the first 3D Mario game on a HD console, not gonna lie, the graphics kind of disappoints. First off, there's a very plastic and glossy look that is smeared across the character models, which I'm not a very big fan of. Secondly, the environment and background in some levels are really boring to look at. It's almost non-existent. In some of these levels, it just seems like the main platforms are just floating in the abyss, giving it a rather weird aesthetic that looks kind of lazy in a way. In levels where the background are filled out, it definitely looks a lot better. Of course, there are some other levels which definitely impress in its background and scale, but I believe that the Galaxy games had a better art style overall and it was originally on the Wii. The constant isometric view also can make depth perception really hard. This view was clearly taken straight out from Super Mario 3D Land. This however wasn't an issue on the 3DS, since the 3D functionality is key to perceiving depth in 3D Land. However, without the 3D here, it can lead to moments where it's hard to platform in this game. Like I found myself on multiple occasions jumping and landing in the wrong spots because it was so hard to judge depth. The music though is just incredible. This soundtrack really hit it out of the park. I especially love the pieces that included a lot of jazz, and some of the remixes of old iconic Mario tracks are just splendid. Here are some of my favourite tracks: Double Cherry Pass, Lucky House Team, World Bowser, Histocrat, Snowball Park, and Champions Road. For this review, I haven't gotten a chance to try out the multiplayer mode as my current job ends quite late, and when I get home I don't really have much time to play with other people, so yeah. Anyways, let's switch gears to the other game featured in this port, Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury gameplay on the other hand is very different from 3D World. It's a sandbox 3D Mario experience akin to Super Mario Odyssey. Your main objective in this game is collecting cat shines. These game versions of stars, shines and moons. You can get these cat shines in a multitude of ways as you explore the world of Lake Lat Cat. It feels exactly like Super Mario Odyssey in that regard. As you explore and complete each objective, you gain more cat shines along the way. The world this time around is connected through one small sandbox. No hub worlds, no separate loading zones, just one complete map, which I actually enjoyed quite a lot. It reminds me a lot of other open world games where you can dictate where you want to go, dictate the progression you want. What sets Bowser's Fury apart from other sandbox Mario is the Fury Bowser phase. Fury Bowser will slowly emerge out of his shell as you continue to explore and finish your objective. The start of this phase is signaled by a sudden downpour of rain, where after a few seconds, Fury Bowser will emerge and terrorize the entire Lake Lat Cat. This world will start raining different platforms and balls of flames, and Fury Bowser himself will start stalking you and breathing fire along the way. This Fury Bowser phase can trigger at any time, no matter at which sections of Lake Lat Cat you are at. So it usually leads to a sense of panic as you try not to be faced by its pursuit, as you try to complete the current challenge you are doing. Especially since at the start, you are not able to attack Fury Bowser head on. That's where the cat shines come to play. As you unlock a stipulated amount of cat shines in each point of the game, you will gain access to the Giga Bell power-up, transforming Mario into Super Saiyan Giga Cat Mario. The spectacles of the boss fight always brought a smile on my face. It kind of brings the vibes of facing Godzilla as you crawl and run along the whole of Lake Lat Cat, which seems so small in this battle now. And what really drives the epic feeling into high gear is the soundtrack during these boss fights. The metal soundtrack just goes so well during these sections. Don't quote me on this, but I think this has to be the first time a metal track is in a mainline Mario game, though the mechanics of the boss fight feels quite underwhelming in the end, since there isn't much variation to the tactic of beating Fury Bowser. And to be honest, the whole Fury Bowser experience felt underwhelming. The majority of the cat shine missions didn't exactly blow me away in any way. Like, don't get me wrong though, it's still a very fun experience, and the fact that I 100% completed this mode in a 6-hour sitting should reflect that fact. However, there are just a few gripes I have to the game. My main gripe is that you can't trigger the Fury Bowser phase without a Bowser amiibo. I don't get why this quality of life option was relegated to an amiibo, especially since quite a number of the cat shines are locked behind Fury blocks, which requires Fury Bowser specifically to destroy them to get the cat shines. This caused so much issues when I try to 100% complete the game, where I just sit down there and just wait for Fury Bowser to show up. Another gripe I have with the game is the performance. The performance can chuck a lot, especially during the more chaotic Fury Bowser phases, dipping below the smooth 60fps experience. In addition, in handheld mode, the game runs at only 30fps throughout the entire Fury Bowser mode, which just feels especially jarring. I can't recommend the handheld experience at all. To summarize, Super Mario 3D World remains an incredibly fun time with its timeless gameplay and creative levels that continues to excite and intrigue all the way to the finale. Bowser Fury on the other hand feels like a Mario Odyssey DLC, bringing new ideas and mechanics in a 3D Mario sandbox formula. Featuring a very unique Fury Bowser phase that is intense and epic. It also shows us a new way of progression that is delightfully freeing. Overall, the soundtrack for both games are incredible. My negatives are that the touch-based levels in 3D World didn't translate really well into this port. The performance issues in Bowser Fury, especially in handheld mode, as well as locking a quality of life options of summoning Fury Bowser behind an amiibo. With all that being said, I'm giving Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury a 10 out of 10. It is simply a glorious fun time, and it is at this moment my game of the year. I highly recommend it to fans like myself who have missed out on the original Super Mario 3D World. If you have already finished the original back on the Wii U, I would advise waiting for a sale before double dipping, as the Bowser Fury mode is definitely worth a play. And there you have it guys, it was a joy playing through this port. And to be honest, this game kind of saved the whole 35th anniversary celebration for me, and it's a fitting way to end on. To know my other thoughts regarding the Super Mario 3D All-Stars, you can click this playlist here. And for more Mario, Switch and Nintendo reviews, press the subscribe button. So long guys, so long.